It's time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
On a Thursday. Can you believe it's already Thursday? Welcome to it. Thank you, Chad Erickson. Lots to do over the next 60 minutes. David Aardsma will drop by, former MLB reliever, because it's spring training, baby. I got to get somebody on my side for the automatic ball strike. If you've missed it this week, I've been trying to sell anybody. I've been trying to sell anybody on this show on the idea of the ABS being a great thing for baseball. Sam has already crushed it. And Vlad, who came on the show yesterday, who I thought would be on my side, said he hated it too. So nobody likes it. Maybe David Aardsma does. We'll talk with him. And I'm not even going to bother getting our former umpire, Dale Scott, who's a friend of the show. I'm not even going to bother putting him on the show because I know he hates it too. Sam Yarnell is with us.
We should have Dale on the show. It's been a while since we talked to Dale.
Let me tell you, let me rhyme here. Dale will rail against ABS if we get him on the show. So I needn't even try to get his support. We got a lot to do, though, in this program today. It's going to be a fun show. So let me start in the NFL because I was kind of startled by a couple of things we saw. One, that NFL insiders apparently almost got into a brawl in Indianapolis yesterday. Our buddy Jordan Schultz, friend of the program, friend of mine, somebody I've known for a long time, with Fox Sports, who does a great job covering all things NFL. And Ian Rappaport apparently getting into it at a Starbucks. The irony can't be lost there, considering Jordan Schultz is the son of Howard Schultz, who is the founder of Starbucks. Just saying. And they almost got into it in a Starbucks. NFL security is investigating. You just can't make this stuff up. We just can't all get along anymore. It's just we live in such a hostile world. Even when in sports you've got insiders having like words. I mean, come on. Like,
you totally just brushed over what to me is the funniest part of this whole story. The last line of the report that you read there. NFL security is investigating.
Why?
You know what I picture when they say that? I picture a bunch of guys in mall cop uniforms that have the NFL logo on them, just walking around a different Starbucks to try and see which one it happened at, and then they'll investigate the scene. Listen, we know the power that NFL investigating has. It's not a lot. I don't really think that anything's going to come of this.
Can I tell you what's hilarious? It took them longer to start an investigation on Justin Tucker than it did on Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz. I mean, seriously! My head's going to explode. The four hairs on the top of my head already falling out. So, what were Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz barking at each other about? Well, it was a report from Jordan Schultz saying that Tom Brady had sort of reached out to Matthew Stafford and I think had even hosted him or something like that. This idea that Tom Brady's trying to convince Matthew Stafford to facilitate a move over to the Raiders. And then Ian Rappaport came out and said, well, the way that Jordan Schultz reported on it isn't exactly true. Then Jordan Schultz sees him at Starbucks. They exchange words. We can leave that part out for now. The Matthew Stafford thing is getting interesting, though, where you have the Rams essentially, trying to figure out a way. Sean McVay yesterday was on a podcast, Whitworth and Fitzpatrick, talking about the idea of the first priority is figuring out the Matthew Stafford situation, but it just doesn't seem like it's in the cards that he returns there, Sam.
No, I don't think he will return. But the thing that's perplexing about all of this to me, Jason, is that, first of all, this move makes, or the hypothetical move makes zero sense from just about every angle. If you're the Rams, why are you going to get rid of the quarterback that won you a Super Bowl instead of letting him ride off into the sunset while you're trying to rebuild, which you clearly are based on who you're favored to have as your next quarterback? We'll get to that in a second. And if you're the Raiders, Why are you all of a sudden gonna buy in on Matt Stafford to be the quarterback that turns this whole team around? I'm not saying that he's bad. I'm saying that he's old. I'm saying that why are we gonna put Matt Stafford in this offense with a bunch of young guys who are still learning their ways in the NFL? And what? We're gonna expect them to make a playoff run in probably the best division in football, the third best division in football? I just don't understand how it makes sense. And then if you're Matt Stafford, I mean, what are you doing?
Thank you. That's the part. Like if you're ring chasing, which, athletes have done, and that's fine. He got one with the Rams. Everything runs its course. You're going to ring chase with a franchise that's been as inept as the Raiders? Are you kidding me?
I think that there are very few people, Jason Page being one of them. And I'm
sorry, we're on three stations. We're on three different stations in Las Vegas right now. My apologies. I love Vegas. I've been here since August, but we got to call a spade here.
100%. And I enjoy Vegas as well. I've been there. I spent a week in Vegas 1 month, or I spent a month in Vegas 1 week, or however that saying goes. Yeah. But from a Matt Stafford perspective also, Jason, if you're in the latter stages of your career, the getting ready to ride off into the sunset period of your time in the NFL, why are you choosing to spend it in Las Vegas rather than Los Angeles? It doesn't make sense to me.
Rumors are swirling, Sam Yarnell, that the Jets, that Aaron Rodgers has reached out to the Giants to gauge their interest in potentially being the starting quarterback there in 2025. Here's all I'm going to say about this. Anybody knows me knows I'm a Giants fan. If the New York Giants sign Aaron Rodgers, I will suspend all of my Giants fandom until he is gone. Plain and simple. I want no part of Aaron Rodgers with that franchise. None.
So that helmet's coming down.
It's coming down.
I don't think you'll have to worry. I think what you will have to worry about is the insane contract that they may give Sam Darnold. I really do think the Giants are lining up to give Sam Darnold just a boatload of money. Obviously, we can't bet on this in the United States, but some of our friends in Canada and other places overseas have markets open right now. And Jason, the Rams are actually the favorite to land Aaron Rodgers at minus 130. I think that, to me,
you're trading Matt Stafford for Aaron Rodgers if you're Sean McVay. I don't get it.
You're signing him to lose, though. You're signing him to rebuild, because that's what he showed you he's good at his last year in New York.
Well, some will argue year one coming off the Achilles injury is the hardest. Some will look at his second half statistics and say they were better than they was in the first half. I'm just saying.
There's one statistic that matters. He is going to be 43 years old when the next NFL season kicks off.
43? Only a little younger than me. Can throw a football better than me, though, I promise you. College basketball. Yes, we're talking men's college hoops next. Coming up in 10 minutes, let's talk some baseball with David Aardsma, former MLB reliever, our closer, friend of the program. I want to ask him about Mike Trout. Hit his first home run of the spring. Might have been his first hit of the spring. I mean, they've only played a few games. But I want to ask him about that. See if he'll take my side on the automatic ball strike challenge system as well. Somebody's got to have my back on this. But let's talk some men's college hoops for a couple of minutes here. Sam Yar. Now, we haven't done a lot of it because, honestly, I don't care until we get to like February and March in conference tournaments in the NCAA tournament. I just can't be bothered. There's too many other things going on. It's all exhibition games until we get to the conference tournament schedule, as far as I'm concerned. That being said, and we've talked about it sparingly throughout the season, what Rick Pitino has done at St. John's needs to be celebrated. And I'm not a Rick Pitino guy. I thought sort of the way he handled himself, in the past in certain situations, and we don't need to go through all of those situations, wasn't necessarily the greatest. But the guy got a second chance. Got a second chance at Iona, and then he got another opportunity, to coach a big-time program in St. John's. And what he has done with the Red Storm, where that program has been, you think of the Mike Jarvis years and sort of everything that's come and gone at St. John's, really since the end of Lou Carnesecca, to where that program is now under Rick Pitino. I don't think we can celebrate enough what he has done for college basketball in the city of New York.
It has been huge, no doubt. On a personal level.
And by the way, real quick, the reason we're celebrating him is he just won the regular season
the Big
East championship. Yes. Sorry.
Right.
Go ahead.
He is now the first coach in NCAA men's basketball history to win a share of a conference title with 5 different schools. 5. BU, Kentucky,
insane.
Louisville, Iona, and now St. John's. I get that there are people out there that don't like him because of what he did or don't agree with certain practices of his, whatever.
Yep.
What you can't deny is greatness. And that is what we are witnessing with Rick Pitino. Yep. In so many facets, not only on the floor with the X's and the O's and the Jimmies and the Joes and all that stuff, Rick Pitino has transformed the entire program at St. John's, right? I remember when I was in college and Pitino was at Iona and St. John's was kind of in that lull that Jason had just talked about. When I was in college at New York, everyone talked about Iona. Why? Rick Pitino was there and he was changing the culture and everybody knew it. And then he went and did the same thing at St. John's, and those people are noticing the same thing about St. John's. This is the Pitino effect, right? This is what he does. He goes into these places that just need a little bit of a culture shock, and when they're good enough, he freaking wins a national championship. I'm looking at you, Louisville. So as much as I completely understand it out, that there are people who are completely justified in their dislike of Rick Pitino or their disagreements with his coaching styles, what you can't disagree with is that he is one of the all-time greats in terms of coaching college basketball. He's got to be up there with Mike Krzyzewski and Jim Boeheim and all the other, Mount Rushmore caliber coaches we talk about.
I agree. And to have been able to do it through, different iterations of college basketball, there's no question. He deserves all the accolades he could possibly get. What might have been the shot of the year in college basketball, we'll get to that in just a moment after a word from our friends at Credit Associates. Are you $10,000 or more in credit card debt, in over your head trying to make monthly payments? Well, there's a powerful debt relief program the credit card companies don't want you to know about. Overcome the debt trap of multiple credit cards, high payments, and high interest rates that keep you in debt for decades with one affordable low monthly payment. Credit Associates Debt Relief Program can help you resolve your debt in as little as 24 to 36 months, and that'll save you thousands of dollars and decades in debt. Find out how much you could save. Call 1-800-747-5362. That's 1-800-747-5362. It's Half-February. Call our friends at Credit Associates or scan the QR code below. Sam Yarnell. Shot of the year in college basketball. Michigan State might have it. Watch.
3. Call or no. Holloman looks the clock. Half court for the win. Oh my goodness. Holloman from half court to win it on the road.
I wanted to let that play out, and there's a reason. Can we go back? Can we go back and look at this young man? Where is he? Where is he? Can we find the young man? Because if anybody missed the video, it's very important. There's a part of this video where there's a young man. I'm going to freeze it when we get to him. And you can tell he's the kid who lost money on the game. He wasn't just mad Maryland lost. There's a kid in the stands who's got a look on his face that literally just said, oh my God, somebody's coming to break my legs tomorrow. I just lost so much money. Look at him. There's one at every game. And that kid right now is trying to figure out how he's going to get into class tomorrow through a back door and avoid the bookie who wants to break his legs. I'm just saying. Shot of the year in college basketball, though.
I mean,
Michigan State's ranked 8th in the country, by the way.
What, 2 days early for Izzo, right? January, February, Izzo, April, May. Your heart doesn't do anything but ache for Maryland fans. Shout out to our viewers en masse, and I'm sure there are a bunch of you Terp faithful out there. That team has so much promise this year. That Maryland team is so good this year. And to lose a game like that this late in the season, it's heartbreaking and it's season altering, Jason Page.
You could almost read this kid's lips. Oh my God, I just lost so much money. Oh my God, I lost so much money. It's just, I hate to take joy in somebody else's misery, but when you know, because we've all been there. We've all been there. Some of us more recently than others. Just saying. Thanks, Kansas City. Appreciate that Super Bowl performance. All right, let's switch gears. Happier thoughts on the show. Happier thoughts with David Aardsma. Does a great job on Major League Baseball. Our closer. We'll talk baseball with him next. All right, segment 3 on this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap. I got 2 days of the week. I mean, I love every day of the week, but 2 of my favorite days of the week. Wednesdays, because Sam is off. No, I'm just kidding. Because it means Vlad hangs out with us, and our friend Kurt Heelan comes on the show from Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com, and we can do a couple of segments of basketball without Sam making faces at me the whole time. The other favorite day of the week is this guy. David Aardsma is here, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that Smith. Look at those chiclets. Look at those chiclets, those bright white chiclets he got there.
I just
always
love
makes
when you're
me
talking
smile.
smack about Sam. That's the best.
I talk smack about everybody. But the difference between me and others is I say it to their face. Like Jordan Schultz going up to Ian Rappaport at a Starbucks in Indianapolis and saying, you want to talk ish? Talk it to my face. Don't talk it behind my back. My name's Jordan Schultz. My dad owns Starbucks. I'll kick your ass. I kind of
apparently he's from New York now, not Seattle anymore.
What?
He's lived in New York a long time, so I could, you know, once
that accent was like was like a third generation Italian from Brooklyn looking to mess somebody up.
We're gonna get Jordan on the show, and I am gonna ask him about this whole thing. All right, so I know Sam's going. Don't count on it. I see. I know that look, Sam.
Right?
Don't count on it. Let's talk some baseball, guys. I want to ask you about Mike Trout. I was reminded of him because he hit a home run, his first hit of the spring, a home run, and he wants to play, left field this year or something like that. He's not going to play in right field, sorry, whatever. He's going to play in right field this year. He's not going to play in center. You know, we sort of think of this guy's career and everything he's gone through, all of the injuries, how we'd all just love to see him play 140 games for a change would be so nice, David. But playing for an Angels team that's really going nowhere, and you're still left to wonder, is he going to finish his career out with the Angels?
Oh, you loaded a couple questions in there, a couple
I
thoughts
did.
questions. Okay, I love we forget how amazing Mike Trout was. I think there's like this new generation of players.
Because it's been so long since he was amazing.
Wait. He was a top 30 hitter in baseball for the 2 months he played last year.
Yes, for the 2 months he played, and that's what's tearing us apart. It was for the 2 months. No, that dude's still amazing. I think the biggest thing here is keep him on the field. Whatever you have to do to keep him on the field. I mean, DH, you can't really DH right now because you have Jorge Soler there. I don't think this team isn't going anywhere. The problem is if they're going somewhere, it's going to be in like 2 years, and not necessarily this year. I don't think that division outside of the Rangers have gotten any better. I think the Astros have taken a little step back. I don't think the Mariners they're kind of stagnant. And the Rangers are sitting there looking at, like, let's not forget 2 years ago, we were the World Series champions. We're a pretty good baseball team, and we're kind of healthy. And the year after having a bad year, like, I think a lot of things are going to go the Rangers' way this year. I don't think the team's necessarily going nowhere. I think they're actually it's going to take a couple of years because they have amazing young talent. You just need Trout on the field, and you need Rendon off the organization. just get this guy on the field. Whatever you have to do, I don't care. DH, first base, right field, just get him out of the outfield. Personally, get him out of the outfield. Get him at first base. Teach him first base. He's too good of an athlete. You just need him on the field. Major League Baseball needs that dude hitting. That's it.
But David, just to your last point there, because this is a debate that I've had internally with myself and with Angels fans online. I don't understand how you can take the athleticism of Mike Trout and put him at first base solely because, not saying that he's just a defensive guy, but his defense is truly, 70, if not 80 grade all around still, to this day, which is incredible. And I know that there's more of a risk associated with it, but if you're in the Angels front office, isn't that a risk that you're willing to take at this point?
Because hold on, I'll answer it for you. No, you don't put him out there because all he ever does is get hurt. Yes, he'll make a great play and then he'll jam his thumb and he'll miss a month or he'll slam his knee against the wall. No, play him at first base. Too bad. You're a China doll. Sorry, David.
Here's your best example. Ready? Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper was not the same defender that Mike Trout is. Bryce Harper was not even the same hitter that Mike Trout is. And we still look at Bryce Harper as one of the best in our generation. He was a lesser on both of those. But he was a really good right fielder, right? And his heart carried him well past anybody else in Major League Baseball. His ability to find the ball and to find the wall and to find whatever. He found it. They immediately, when the moment happened, they moved him to first base, didn't even look back, and now he's a gold gloving, basically, first baseman. That's the way the Angels have to be looking at this, and they're 2 years too late on this, to be honest. They're 2 years too late. The moment Albert Pujols stepped aside, they should have said, Mike, you're an 80 out there, but you're 0 on the bench because you're hurt. Be a 70 at first base and just be on the field every day. Love baseball. And that's their problem, is they're so scared to have that conversation. The real conversation needs to happen, and just take the reins from them and say, no, you're a first baseman because your value is so far beyond what gives me in right field. Dude, I can find a center fielder. I can find a right fielder that can defend. I can't find Mike Trout.
David, you mentioned Bryce Harper, and there's a question I've been wanting to ask you for about a week on the show. Obviously, there's been a new stardom in Bryce Harper's life, and he's found this kind of TikTok revelation, and he's now this viral sensation on TikTok, taking us inside everything he does in his daily life. And the public has quickly learned that he has some interesting choices of ingredients and very whole organic everything all the time, raw milk, all this kind of stuff. And a week into spring training, he's missing time because of internal issues with his body and his digestive system and his immune system. My question for you is, did you ever have any sort of whole organic, super focused sort of diet that you kind of maintain to keep your body in shape? And do you think Bryce Harper needs to?
Okay, I think there's a couple things there. One, for myself, I got a lot better over the course of my career, eating a lot better, eating a lot cleaner, taking care of my body, understanding food timing and all that stuff, right? I was never this crazy organic guy. Dude, I'd give me some steak and we're good. But how much butter or how much other stuff am I adding with that, right? I just got a lot better towards the end of my career because now there's so much more science out there and for athletes. I would say, Bryce, look at your teammate Kyle Schwarber. There was a moment there with the Cubs where he wanted to lose a lot of weight, eat a lot healthy, go this way, go that way. Prince Fielder went healthy, went vegan or whatever it was, all this stuff. It hasn't turned out well when you're power hitters. It doesn't well. But at the same time, Bryce Harper might have had these problems, and that's why he's doing this. And it's only showing up. We're going dude, your diet now. It's well, that's why it is my diet.
Isn't raw milk how you get bird flu? They tell you don't drink raw milk.
Yes.
How you get bird flu?
It's so dangerous.
Unless you're Robert Kennedy, and then nothing can kill you. So we're coming back. Sometimes the show off the air is better than the one on it. Not gonna lie. Having some fun with our guest David Aardsma, former MLB reliever, and Sammy Arnell, who's a former club baseball player at Hofstra. Something like that. The club team.
Some awards back there, maybe.
Yeah. What, Sam? Sam, your mic's off. It actually works better with your mic off, Sam. I actually like you better with the mic off.
Oh my gosh, I turned my freaking mic off because I was so upset about you talking about. I was a regional champion, Jason Page, my freshman year, albeit. So I'll take my props now, please.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I need somebody on my side, David, and I'm hoping it's you. I've had Sam on this week, 2 days. I tried to convince him ABS is great. I had Vlad on the show yesterday, who sits in for Sam on Wednesdays, trying to convince him ABS is great. He hates it. Are you going to be the one that's on my side that says ABS, let's get it going. Forget waiting till 2026. We need it now.
Okay, I want to know why, Sam. Why do you hate it?
So here's my thing.
Give the Cliff Notes version. Yeah, we don't need the whole 7 minutes of it.
Version,
let's go.
Because you'll understand the baseball terminology. You're changing pitching to throwing. You're making guys try to hit a strike zone that is finite, but not actually finite, apparently, because they can't get the rules right. And apparently now the ABS system changes at batter to batter.
It should.
And instead of, I don't disagree, but instead of, David, what you throughout your career became so accustomed to with changing eye levels, both for, and this is a thing that people don't understand, the batter and the umpire, has now been completely taken away. Framing, completely out of the game. Presentation of a pitch, half of what defensive catching is, completely eliminated from baseball. It's changing the very fabric of the game that we know and love and have known and loved for over 100 years.
We did that with all these other rule changes already. What's one more? Go ahead, David.
ABS system needs to be used in very limited quantity. I actually really like the ABS system. I like the idea of getting it better in the most important moments of the game. I don't like it first pitch of the game. I actually think it was the funniest thing that Max Muncy wasn't supposed to ask for a pitch, and then it comes to the first pitch with Max Muncy. I think that's one of the funniest things of all time. I think what it does is what hitters are going to realize. There's a lot more strikes out there for pitchers. You're not going to like a lot of these calls, and you've been getting a lot more calls towards the hitter's way over the history of baseball than towards the pitcher's way, and they're not going to like it. What I don't like is that they redefine the strike zone. I don't like that. The 55.3% of the, or 53.5% of the height of the batter in the stance is below the belly button. That's the top of the zone. I think that's the biggest crap, because the Major League Baseball, what's written is basically right mid-chest at your nipples. Let's just call it what it is. And it's just absolute crap that it's basically lowered almost 8 inches, and they're taking that completely away within, and that's against the rules. Fine. But I love when it just touches one little bit of the strike zone. It's a strike. Suck it. It just is what it is. I like, though, in very limited times, Major League Baseball umpires are really good. The problem with Sam is that when we've had this system and the umpire's been graded on it, it's taken away a lot of that stuff anyways. And we can still change eye levels and stuff for the hitters, because either way, we're still trying to get them to swing and miss. The take and strike is the icing on the cake. The swing and the miss is what is baseball.
Look at that look. Look at that. That's the look of defeat. That's the look of defeat. I love it.
No.
Sign me up.
David's right. Let's right. Go. It's not the look of defeat. It's the look of disappointment. Because while I don't necessarily disagree with your points, David, I think that the way that they've implemented this and the system that they are perpetuating is not the best what you talked about, and maybe using it, let's use it 7th inning and on, right? Everyone, you can challenge one pitch an inning, 7th inning and on. Go ahead. That's fine. But we've had so many of these challenges come in the 2nd inning, the 3rd inning, the 4th inning. And while I know in the grand scheme of things, right, 10, 15 seconds a pitch times, we'll call it max 15 pitches a game, right? You're adding a small amount of time to a long game. However, at this juncture where we're at in the timeline of baseball, where we finally made games this short and starting to draw people back in to wanting to watch baseball because of this concise product, we're now going to put these elongated, very boring 15-second additions in.
It's not even 15. Times a game. It might be 10 times. It might be 10 seconds. And look, at the end of the day, I don't want the bat taken out of the best player's hands. And we see it happen too many times in this game because umpires don't know where the hell the strike zone is.
Yeah, I just don't. I want it. I don't want it 10 times. To me, it's 6 max, 4. If you can keep it to 4 a game, limit it to 2 per side.
2 per side. That's it. That's all I get.
Yes, because that's really, honest to God, these umpires are that good. They're 95% success rate, and essentially. And if you use it and lose it, it's gone, man. Like, and honestly, so it actually makes it where we have the technology, we can get the call right, but only use it when it actually matters. Don't also remember this. They are telling the coaches to use it. They're telling the coaches to try it. There's memos. They come down and say, hey, go for it. Like, just call it to see if the system's right, how good it goes. Now, let's also get that to 7 seconds. Let's lock those 7 seconds in to where umpire goes, boom, boom, calls it, strike, let's go. I don't need the show. Just go, boom, call it. And then I don't need a show, but they're trying to make a big deal out of it so they can isolate it and actually learn from it. Remember, there's a lot of things here. Major League Baseball Players Association and the Umpire Association all want to learn how it works in real life, so they kind of make a show out of it to see how that can then get better.
Give me two a game and then 9th inning. Give me 2 a game each side and then 9th inning.
You don't even get eliminated. To me, it's 2, maybe then you get you get 1 in the 9th. Like, to me,
Rob Manfred, me and David are coming for your job.
Oh yes, that would be fun.
We gotta go. David, love you, man. We'll see you later. All right, Odds and Ends wraps it up in 10 minutes. And there are some odds and ends to finish the show. Maybe the end of the conversation when it comes to Dunk of the Year in the NBA as well. We'll get to that. Oh, look, it happened at the hands of Sam's beloved Washington Wizards. So we'll talk about that too. Something to consider,
and
Sam.
I am A-okay with it.
Of course
we'll
you
get
are.
to it, I promise.
Of course you are okay with it. Sam Yarnell, something to consider. Something I think more athletes should be doing. One of the big stories of the day was this, and I saw them talking about it on First Take when I glanced at that show for about 5 minutes, because that's about all I can handle of Stephen A., was Kevin Durant on the Draymond Green and Baron Davis podcast and talking about why he didn't want to go play for the Warriors. And it's really the male version of cackling hens is what it is. And look, it is cool to hear players talking, players speak sometimes, but the Kevin Durant stuff to me just kind of gets old and outdated and played out about who he is and what he is and all of that stuff. Anyway, that was part of a different podcast. Paul George, PG-13, made some news on his own podcast yesterday, discussing trying to help this Philadelphia 76ers team, which lost to the Knicks last night, make a run to the postseason. And dare we even say win a championship. This was Paul George on his own podcast yesterday. Watch.
Fellas, it's no secret this season is up to this point, man, it hasn't been what we envisioned. I know my goal when I first signed with Philadelphia was to bring a championship to these amazing fans here. I still remain positive about that, and that is still the case and where I'm coming from. With that being said, though, I want to let the Podcast P family know that after today's episode with Dwight, I plan to take a break from the pod just to focus on getting my body right, getting mentally right, and, help this squad make a push towards our goal to finish the season out, give ourselves a chance to be in contentions to compete for a championship. I won't front. The desire to get back to shooting in person with my guys as well is the forefront of, this hiatus as well. I look forward to us three being back together and doing this as we once started this. So we'll be back on that note. Be sure to lock in with us because we got some big things in store in our future. In the meantime, y'all be easy.
All right. That's enough. I can't. I just can't. I can't.
Aren't you glad that you listen to SportsWrap instead of whatever that is? Podcast G, Podcast P, Podcast Playoff P.
But let me say this.
Playoff P hasn't been in the playoffs in what? Half a decade?
I wish more players would do this, though. Like, if you want to, outside the season, you want to host your podcasts, you want to do all these different things, I get it. I think there's something to be said for these players that are pouring all this energy. I will tell you something. As somebody who hosts a show 5, 6, 7 days a week, depending on how you consume us, it's a lot of work. It's not as easy as you think it is. Now, granted, Paul George doesn't have to put the kind of work into it in terms of booking guests and editing and producing that I do doing this 7 days a week. But it's still something that's taking your mind away from something other than what you do for a living, which is playing basketball and trying to play it at the highest level. And I think some of these guys stretch themselves too thin in that regard, Sam.
But here's the thing about the modern day NBA, right? Because the other side of this coin, Jason, is JJ Redick and the Lakers. I'm sorry, but it is. JJ Redick and LeBron start a freaking podcast, and 6 months later, JJ Redick is LeBron's coach. Like Draymond Green. Draymond Green is only maintaining relevancy because of his stupid podcast, his stupid appearances on TNT, and whatever he does outside of the whistles. Well, like, this is just, unfortunately, the state of the NBA. And while I know that the narrative is being perpetuated that, oh, it's because Paul George is going to focus on a playoff run with his team. They're what? The last team in the play-in in the East in a famously, historically shallow field in both conferences. So now what are you going to do, Paul George? You're going to pretend like you're getting better to only get your team a worse draft pick. No, folks, here's what's really happening. He's not stepping away to focus on himself or his health or whatever the case is, whatever. No, that's because you would have seen him do that in Indianapolis and you didn't. I'm sorry, you didn't. Here's why he's stepping away, because he's tired of the heat that he's getting for how horrible the team that he went to ring chase with is, and he doesn't want to stay in the kitchen for it any longer. So I'm really sorry, PG. I hope you get everything figured out. But you stepping away from your podcast and pretending that it's a basketball move is hokum.
Well, there are a lot of people giving him heat. And that there are those suggesting that the reason he's doing this is because of the heat he's getting for the team not succeeding in the podcast. I will say this. You can get the Sixers right now are 2 games out of the 10 seed. 2 games out of the 10 seed with 24 to play. 2 games out at 20 and 38, by the way. 2 games out of the 10th seed. You can get them right now plus 790 to make the playoffs. Now, that is making the final 8, getting through the play-in and being one of the final 8. You can get them at plus 790.
So, I'm sure there are people out there, I'm sure there are, who question why I rip the NBA so much. This is why!
You can get the Sixers at plus 195 to make the play-in. Plus 790 to be one of the final 8.
I'll lay it with the
We gotta go. We're coming back. All right, just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. And that means Robert Littal is scheduled to join us. Now, he's missed the last 3 weeks. 2 weeks were his fault, 1 was my fault. He should be here tomorrow. Founder of Black Sports Online. Tino Pitino will be here because it's a NASCAR Friday. We'll talk to him about all things NASCAR. Reminder, make sure to check out the podcast. More and more apparently are each and every day. SportsWrap with Jason Page podcast. You can listen to it or watch it on Spotify, and you can listen to it everywhere else you get your podcasts. iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, you name it. We are on all of them. Without any further delay, time for some odds and ends. Presented by our friends at Credit Associates. Did you see Jalen Brunson last night just dominating late? taking a victory away from the Philadelphia 76ers, and they need all the ones they can get. Hey, the Knicks can at least beat the 76ers. They can't beat anybody else, but at least they can beat the 76ers. Blocking the 76ers potentially from making the playoffs with that win. Are you $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Is your credit card debt blocking you right now? In over your head trying to make monthly payments? Well, the Sixers are certainly in over their heads these days. Well, there's a powerful debt relief program the credit card companies don't want you to know about. Overcome the debt trap of multiple credit cards, high payments, and high interest rates that keep you in debt for decades. And you can do it with one affordable low monthly payment. Credit Associates Debt Relief Program can help you resolve your debt in as little as 24 to 36 months, and that'll save you thousands of dollars and decades in debt. Find out how much you can save right now. Call 1-800-747-5362, 1-800-747-5362 in this half-uary, or just scan the QR code below. How did I miss this video, which is apparently a year old? I had to show this to people because I saw it on my timeline today. And this is why every NFL team should just hire sumo wrestlers to be offensive linemen. Micah Parsons trying to wrestle or get himself by a sumo wrestler. And the sumo wrestler is literally laughing at Micah Parsons as Micah Parsons tries to drive through the sumo wrestler. I mean, need I say anything more? Every team should go out and sign a sumo wrestler to be on their offensive line, Sam Yarnell.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't. Because there's so much more that goes into being an offensive lineman than just what you saw that sumo wrestler do to Micah Parsons. When I saw this video, though, I definitely it gave me, I don't want to say a newfound respect, because it's not that I didn't respect them before.
Yeah.
But like maybe a newfound appreciation for the sport of sumo wrestling. Like, my goodness, I don't know if you scrolled through the replies, because I know a bunch of different people resurfaced this video yesterday that happened in like May of last year when a bunch of them went over to Asia. But in the replies, people are sending all these videos of Micah Parsons absolutely dominating offensive linemen off the ball. And it's like, these sumo wrestlers, he's got to be twice as strong as the average NFL right tackle.
Yep.
Now, obviously, you know, sumo wrestlers going to have a lot of trouble getting up to the line, right? They're not the most agile, quickest guys. So if you're running the hurry-up offense, you might have to put in a couple of subs. And, you know, sumo wrestlers also maybe not the quickest reaction time to a snap. So at the end of the day, it's an interesting proposition for sure. And these videos are great. Let's send entire D-lines over there to do training. I don't know if you can bring them back to try and translate their sport to ours, though.
Watch this space when it comes to this story involving Abdul Carter, because I don't know if any of us are sure what's going to happen with it. Stress foot reaction. Remains to be seen if he's going to have surgery. Keep an eye on that. Last but not least, maybe the dunk of the year in the NBA. Give it to me.
Going lefty, blocked away by Sharp. It's recovered by Simons. Advanced to Grant. In he comes outside to Simons. Simons handling beyond the three-point arc. Met by Smart. 16 to shoot. Screen set by Walker. Simons drifts to the baseline. Took a hard hit. And I'm not sure what they were looking at. Outlet pass grabbed by Smart. Oh, Shaden Sharp cocked it back. A vicious right hand. Foul.
Shaden Sharp's got such athleticism.
How good was that? Wow. Shaden Sharp.
No.
Posterizing the Wizards.
It was fine, but clearly everyone's forgetting who, who was it? Was it
Champagne?
Was it LeBron? Was it LeBron over Zach Edey in like the second week of the season? Listen, we have recency bias when these things kind of happen. And
this one is vicious, though. This is
I don't
vicious.
know. It's not Dunk of the Year candidate, though. Like when you think of Dunk of the Year, sure, it's a great poster. And listen, as a Wizards fan, I'm extra appreciative of it because it was one basket closer to Ace Bailey in a DC uniform. But I don't know, man. Like, if you're going to get the Dunk of the Year, you got to catch more than one body.
Wow.
And you got to maintain your feet. He didn't even stay on his feet after he dunked the ball.
Ace Bailey. Why not Cooper Flagg, by the way?
So,
I mean, right now, Cooper Flagg plus 500 right now to be the top pick going to the Wizards are plus 500 to get Cooper Flagg, by the way. Just throw that in there.
Ace Bailey fits the system better.
All right. We're out of time. Another topic for another day. Thanks to David Aardsma. Thanks to you, Sammy Arnell. Thanks to all of you for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.